Okay, good evening. This is Spurs TV, and I'm Harry, and I have a special guest this evening called Marlon. Hi, Marlon. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, guys. So tonight we're going to talk about Newcastle for a bit, the lovely win on Monday night, and then we'll go deep into Norwich, and hopefully talk about Champions League football for next season. Okay, so first of all, Marlon,
Hopefully.
how was Monday night?
So I've got this thing where I'm not allowed to watch Arsenal.
Oh, okay.
So I was constantly on my phone going, oh my god, I think it was still 0-0, and I was like, okay, it's still going in our favour. But I'm Arsenal's lucky charm when I watch them on TV.
Oh no, okay.
So if I watch them from the start, they always win. Like Chelsea, I watched from the start because I thought, oh, they'd lose that. I watched the Man United game from the start, and I watched the West Ham game from the start. So I was like, you know what, I've got to stop watching them now again. Because I completely missed Palace. I didn't even watch them against Palace or Everton this season. So I've tried to test it, but when I was clicking the results and I saw Newcastle went 1-0 up, I literally turned over for 1 minute and was like, okay, because when you was reading it, I was reading that everyone saying that Newcastle played really well. So I was like, I can't be that much of a bad luck. And then Arsenal had a chance. So I had to switch it off. And then at the 89th, I think it was the 88th minute or something like that, and I switched it back on and went, oh my God, even I can't see Newcastle losing this. And obviously Bruno had scored. So I was like, I'm going to watch it now.
You're good then.
So I was good from then. I was like, even Arsenal can't bring this back. But to hear how they collapsed, literally, it was the best thing I'd heard. Best thing I heard. And, let's be honest, the North London derby wrecked them. They should have played that game in January, and it's now killed off their season. Potentially killed off their season. I shouldn't be too confident yet. It's Antonio Conte, isn't it? Come on. I've got to be slightly a bit confident about the situation.
Do you think though that they kind of shot themselves in the foot? Because back in when was it when we played them? Do you remember? I can't remember.
In January, late January.
January, yeah. We were missing I think Son and a few other players.
Well, yeah,
and they were missing. Yeah. I know they had their injury or whatever the hell it was. They were trying to avoid. But do you think back then they would have had a better chance to beat us than back now?
Personally, I probably think they would have beat us. They were on form as well. They weren't like off form. Yeah, they got knocked out by Nottingham Forest, I think, in the cup, but they'd gone on form after that. And we had Romero missing at the time. We couldn't really keep a clean sheet. We were just going into that bad period under Conte because we'd literally stopped winning. Son was out at the time, if I remember correctly. He wasn't even supposed to be playing at the time. And I think and if I remember correctly, that the amount of players they had out, including people on international, we had out. So it was the most bizarre thing to cancel it because of Odegaard, because he was the person that was meant to have had COVID, which came out later. He didn't even have COVID. He recovered in time for the game. So yeah, they kind of really they've messed up with their season, because obviously now what happened was we caught up with them, they caught up with us, and it came to that fourth spot that we're both trying to aim for. Man United obviously messing things up. The TV companies, especially because it was meant to be on Sky before, I've gone, hold on, but wait, this could actually be an intriguing fixture. Yeah. And I would love to see the viewing figures for Thursday, because I don't think it was just Spurs and Arsenal fans viewing that.
No.
It would have been less. It was TV gold, and Amazon are lucky enough they've got all of this. It's that documentary is going to be better than ours. It's going to be more, let's be honest, the documentary is going to be better than ours. And because if you think about it, with our one, they glossed over the whole Pochettino Mourinho situation. After that, it became quite boring.
Yeah.
But this one is epic because they've had collapses, they've had bad starts, and it's just going to be. I didn't see the Newcastle result coming, if I'm being honest. I didn't see it coming from them. A lot of people did, and I was one of them that was like, we turned over Newcastle.
Yeah.
And they were on a run. Like, literally, we turned over Newcastle. And yeah, they played well against Liverpool, but they still lost. So I thought, and the way Arsenal have been grinding out the results, I just had this thing in my head that they'd grind it out against Newcastle. But obviously, I was over the moon when they didn't.
Yeah.
And I'd rather go into the last day of the season it being in our hands than theirs.
Exactly. Like for me, my story wasn't really that big of a story, but I missed the first half because I finished work quite late on a Monday sometimes, and I only caught the second half. But on the train, I was following, and it was saying, Newcastle putting the pressure on, they have to score a goal, blah blah blah. Even when I got back and put the TV on, it was all Newcastle.
Yeah, because even when I put it on, it was like
I felt like they were going to score.
Yeah,
to me, they were going to score. Arsenal didn't create anything from what I saw.
It just from the
and once the first goal went in, that was it. I was like, they're going to just beat him now.
It just seemed like they just, like I've watched Granit Xhaka's interview afterwards, and it was a weird interview, but I was very surprised with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher's reaction to it, because I thought, actually, you've asked him to come out and give an honest interview, and a lot of Arsenal fans will be sitting there, but look, well, how did you play? But it was kind of, he called it out. Let's be honest, a lot of them didn't turn up for what intendedly was a massive game for them, and they went back in their shell like they were still a lot of them probably left, their arsehole at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because they didn't turn up that night either. No matter how much they want to blame the ref, and if they do want to blame the ref, where were they Monday? You can't blame the ref on Monday. Yeah. So it's one of them. But
I find like they have sort of victim mentality.
Yeah, they've really. It's for me. This is, I totally expect what I've been hearing from Arsenal fans. This is typical them. It's just that we ain't had it for a very long time, and I think that's where as Spurs fans we've been, because before we kind of took over them, they were confident. They were always confident. They would always get in front of us. But now it's in that stage where it's been too long for them, even for them. And they started to
6 years or something? It was 5 years or 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, they started to believe that Arteta had turned it round. And, our results, if you look at our results, every time we kept turning the pressure on, we'd turn it off and then they'd be back into full spot again. But they got ahead of themselves. Because when you look at it, when you look at us, Arsenal, West Ham, Man United, let's all be honest, Arsenal have had the best season out of all five of us. When you think about it, even though our points tally and everything's all good, we've had a mismatch of results. We've not been on the only thing consistent about us has been our results being win, loss, or win here, losses here. And that's probably been the ideal thing. So Arsenal have come up at the right time where Arteta's got the team. When he went on form, they went on form. They were losing and stuff like that. So they've hit their ceiling. This is them. They can't get better than this. Where us, Man United, and even West Ham, right, can still progress.
Yeah.
This is it for Arsenal. And and that's what's good to see, because the only thing that was worrying me was if they got Champions League football, would they be able to sign a striker? Yeah. That's all, that's what they're really missing, is a key man. But now they've got to go out and be good with their business, which they haven't been, and go out and find another striker, because Lacazette's not worked out for them. Aubameyang had worked out for them, but obviously Arteta and big egos right now keeps falling out with players left, right, and centre. So it's a good time to. Hopefully, it's a good time to be a Spurs fan. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think even the most avid Levy out fan,
like myself.
Yeah. it's so strange to see, because like I look at someone like Daigle, who's a proper avid Levy out fan. He's the man for it. But even he has, after that North London derby and the way things are going, even he has stopped. He's not. He's still. When I say he's stopped, he's not going on every channel going Levy out. He's behind the team. He's doing his thing. He's always going to be Levy out, but he said it's about being positive and seeing what happens over the next few games and getting Champions League football.
Like for me, I'll just touch on Levy out quickly, and maybe people like him and me, or Brian and Stell and whoever else is on Twitter, who knows what I'm saying. But like, at least for me personally, I'm gonna just wait till the end of June. I
think all of you are going to be like that, because.
And if he does it, if nothing changes in the way things are done, and I'm going to be down that high road probably.
Oh, of course.
On the 1st of July.
Personally,
yeah.
Personally, and this is the thing. I'm not a Levy fan, right? But I can see sometimes the good he's done, right? As well. I'm not one of them who'll go, but he's constantly, he's done this, that, and the other. But the thing that, I think he's got every person on side at the moment is, yes, Luis Diaz. Like, for me, us being linked with Luis Diaz, nearly getting that over the line. Yeah. I like Scott M. Scott M's one of my favourites, I have to say. But yeah, so what I love my trailer thought then. Yeah. But you look at Luis Diaz, right? He was linked with Spurs. They were trying to get it over the line and everything like that. Now, let's be honest, Spurs, and considering what Luis Diaz has done, something suddenly, it's like something is changing in the club. We hope. I think that's what we're hoping for. And like you said, you're going to wait till the end of June, because even you right now are thinking it's going to change. Something actually might be changing. And
I think it's more because it has to, because if it doesn't, Conte's going to go.
Well, this is the thing. And I'm looking at it going, Levy, I'm looking at it. If I was Levy right now, and he knows how the fan base feels, especially after the whole Man United game and getting Nuno out and everything like that. Right? And that was the first time in a long time, well, probably ever, that you've ever heard Levy out sung inside the stadium. And what made that even more special was it was on Sky Sports, right? Exactly. So you had two factors there. But we're all looking at going, Conte has done wonders, yeah? And I know people will say about in-game management, subs like that, but I always ask the question, and probably Scott M might back me up. He turns around and looks at his bench. What else can he bring on?
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Bergwijn, all of us wanted out before that Leicester game. Yeah?
Yeah.
None of us wanted him here. He weren't changing games. Lucas Moura was half this fan base didn't even want him to start, but we had nothing else. Before Kulu came in, what else do you have?
Nothing.
So, but them two have now pulled down trees, and Kulu and Bentancur signings have been great. The Kulu signing and Bentancur signings have been great, and the fact they've settled in so quickly has been a marvelous stroke of luck. And I know a lot of people go Paratici, he didn't cause all the Juventus stuff and things like that, but it's a change of culture, and Conte hopefully is the man to bring that. And I think if Chelsea don't get a result tonight, I'm going to go into that Norwich game probably more confident, because Conte will be going, you lot need to win to get third.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it won't be about what Arsenal and Everton are doing, depending on Everton. Yeah. It won't be about that game. It will definitely be
an extra motivation.
Because he'll be saying, no, we don't want fourth, we want third.
It's still 1-1 actually.
Yeah. So hopefully, for me, the Conte factor is massive, absolutely massive. And that performance against Arsenal was not vintage. It was great to see and everything. It wasn't vintage, let's be honest. But we absolutely took them to the cleaners.
But for me, that was the first North London derby I've ever felt comfortable, to be honest with you.
Well, this is the thing. I was having a conversation, a couple of, I've spoken to obviously some gooners that speak to me. And they could talk about the first 10 minutes and stuff. And I sit there and go, yeah, you were good in the first. Well, not even good. You put us under pressure and actually turned up for the first time. And when I say turned up, I use that word loosely. You played okay. But at not one point did I feel uncomfortable. I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not worried about what they're doing. Usually when you go into a North London derby, we're bricking it. A little bit of pressure, oh my God. But I wasn't bricking it. And until we got more and more into the game, we started to get more and more comfortable. You saw Royale and Kulu actually physically trying to do stuff on the right-hand side. Yes, I won't get into the Royale argument.
No, it's fine.
Right. I will defend him for a little bit.
No, he's been playing well the past few games. You can't say anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He has been playing well, but I know his weaknesses. And if you focus on his weaknesses all the time,
his crossing and his
he's crossing and stuff. He ain't. But actually, defending wise, he's all right. Not as bad as everyone makes him out to be. If you are getting to defend like he did against Liverpool and City, he's okay. But him and Kulu started to get more and more into the game in the North London derby, and that's when that cross came. When we finally could get it to Kulu to cross, that's where the penalty came from.
Yeah,
and it just became a bit of a, we started to play better and better and better in that game. And the Burnley game, I will quickly touch on that as well.
Yeah,
I know everyone was going, it wasn't the best performance, but Nick Pope got man of the match.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the big key thing. Nick Pope actually got man of the match. I think it wasn't vintage football play, but it was get the job done. And
functional. Actually, that's how I felt like to me. Yeah.
And it could have ended 3-0. If Nick Pope didn't make two great saves, I think one was off Son, where it's point blank. we're looking at it going, oh, that was a simple victory. But because it was 1-0 with a penalty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think a result, going into a result like that, I think that's why at the moment Spurs fans can feel slightly confident about Sunday. Slightly.
Oh, wow. Everton won. Wow. Everton beat Palace.
Oh, Everton won. So we definitely need to win on Sunday now.
Yeah.
They were 2-0 down.
Wow, that's mad.
Apparently, just had a man sent off as well. So
apparently, Dele Alli played really well. Very surprised about that.
Oh, there we go. Delhi Sunday. Delhi's going to give us Champions League football, people. It's on. It's on.
I'll have to eat my words about Delhi if he scores on Sunday.
Delhi had to move. No matter what. For me, Delhi had to move.
It got very stale with him.
Yeah, I think the Everton thing was never going to work straight away, but it could work for him. It's just that right now he's in a side that are fighting relegation.
Yeah, it's probably not the right
That's
time.
not Dele Alli football. If Dele Alli went to Brentford, we'd see old Dele back.
You think?
Yeah. Christian Eriksen was a key part to why Dele Alli was so good.
For me, you kind of have to build the team around someone like Dele for it to work.
Yeah, you have to play to your thing. Once we lost if everybody notices, once Christian Eriksen left, Dele Alli went to Pot, and he was going to Pot before that, but he was injured a lot. But as soon as Christian left, that was it. Game over for Dele.
Chelsea third. Are they still third?
Yeah, they should be third. But how many points in front of us? Are they 1, 2?
Still has 1-1 on my thing. Should finish now. So I'm just checking the table. 71 points. Well, they'd have to lose on the final day, and our goal difference isn't good enough. So
yeah, hopefully, come on, Watford.
They could win 20-0 or something. That's going to happen 20-0 or something like that.
Come on, Watford.
Look. They win by 18 goals.
Hey, look, Harry Kane needs 7 and Son needs 2.
That's half the goals.
There you go. It could happen, people.
And they lose 9-0 on the last day.
Yeah,
to Watford.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen, people.
Yeah, it could happen.
Look, if Arsenal can still finish 4th and with a 15-goal swing, if we drew, yeah, that could happen.
But so again, with me, I think the top 4 race was always about momentum.
Yeah.
And once we had that momentum shift, and I think that probably happened in the derby, it swung our way. And also we beat Burnley straight after. And by the time we got to Monday night, Arsenal were already sort of deflated.
Yeah.
Psychologically. And then I think Newcastle just took them to the cleaners because they couldn't face the pressure and they couldn't face the atmosphere. And so I remember when I was on your channel, I was saying Newcastle's always an easier game for them to drop because of that atmosphere and just a lot of those players had a point to prove because they know the money's coming in next year.
Yeah.
So they might even have
and that's the bit I wasn't confident about is that obviously they knew the money was going to come in, but I wasn't confident that Newcastle players would adjust to that and be motivated by that. But they proved me wrong. And it might not even have been the money. I think they enjoy playing for Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
And
do you think, and it's not to be Tottenham, do you think he's going to be a long-term manager there? Or do you think he's just going to be like Mark Hughes when he went to City, when he was there for 2-3 years? They got rid of him, got Mancini. Because I think someone like Pochettino could end up at Newcastle. That's just
so with Howe, it's a difficult one. And I actually think now they've seen what he can do with a little bit of money. Go and check what he can do with
big money,
some more added and things like that. Because Newcastle were very clever in their transfer window this in January. Because people were like, "Oh my god, they didn't buy spectacular players, right?" But they bought players off all the teams that they were fighting relegation with. And Dan Burn, Chris Wood for bloody Burnley. Look what situation they're in, right? They bought Matty Target, and look at the situation with Aston Villa. Dan Burn, once he left, Burnley didn't win for 2 months.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm not Burnley, Brighton. I mean, Brighton didn't even win a game for 2 months until they played Arsenal and Spurs. So, that's what everyone's got to remember. So they were very clever. They bought what was around them. So next year, if they
picked off the competition,
if they start buying players off their competition, like say they went out and bought Jared Bowen off West Ham,
then
then
that's their star man gone. Basically.
You know, if they went and bought James Maddison off Leicester, you know,
he's a player I want
things,
us to get, to be honest. But
I'm a bit hesitant about Maddison. I think he doesn't produce it in big games.
But we had that issue even with Eriksen at Tottenham.
Yeah, but not as bad.
I know. I'm just saying there's something
like with Eriksen.
Because the issue I always had with Eriksen was it would just disappear in big games.
Well, I think it's quite strange you say that, because I had a friend who said the same thing. But I said, well, the problem is that he's going to get less of the ball in those big games.
It's true, but
the problem was, and people didn't realize this, I'm pretty sure he was always top of the running stats.
Yeah, he was, but
he, like, when he could open it up, he would.
Yeah,
like, he was the person who could open it up, and he was the like, for me, you remember when Antonio Conte managed Chelsea?
Yeah.
You know, they came to the lane and Dele Alli scored those 2 goals.
I remember, yeah, the 2 goals.
Eriksen just knew where Kane was, where Ali was, and who else was it at the time? Son never used to play then. This is what everyone forgets. Son was always on the bench.
Because he only was in like the proper first team in 2018, wasn't he? Really?
Yeah. And this is the thing. Son's only come about really late on, because in the early Poch days, his first season, let's be honest, it was quite slow.
He barely played, I think, did he?
Yeah.
He got 1 goal in his debut, I remember, against Palace.
And then the second season, if I remember correctly, he came into the team really late on that season.
Yeah, he didn't start. So we had no, Chadley had gone by then, right? So
Chadley had gone.
It was like Eriksen, Ali, and who else was that?
Because it was before the whole desk thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Dembele used to play wide sometimes, I remember.
Yeah, so we used to have, so it used to be, you know, Dyer used to be in there, Wanyama used to be in there.
Yeah, Dyer and Wanyama were like...
Yeah, with Eriksen further forward, and with Ali as well. So we, you know, but yeah, I still can't believe Everton just won 3-2. I'm still just
doesn't help.
They've survived now, but yeah. So, but yeah, Eriksen, you know, it's really weird because he is someone we just haven't replaced.
But I think also in that Pochettino side, he was literally like the only creator, and because we didn't obviously buy someone to back him up when he left, that was it. But the reason I bring up, say, not big games is that you watch someone like Kevin De Bruyne. He just turns up in every single game. He's like, for me, he's a different level, completely different level.
I get that. But if you put Kevin De Bruyne at Spurs, would he have the same impact?
Yeah, I don't think he would.
And this is the question you have to ask yourself, because he's around, let's be honest, some great players at City. So
he just runs that team. On his own.
He can run the team. If you're in a good side, you can run it. And this is always my point when Arsenal fans try to throw bricks at Harry Kane and everyone else tries to.
I know, but Kane
is doing it in a team that's not, let's be honest, it's very average. Is average. And even if you still produce it now in an average team, you have to go. And Son is the same. Son is completely the same. He's doing it in an average team. So if they're doing this in an average team, imagine what they would do. And you know, Son is a big game player. Like most of our big games, Son scores. So
it's true.
And he's someone who will go disappearing though against someone like Brighton.
The thing with Son though, I've noticed is that before, he obviously under Mourinho, it was a different sort of setup. So we would play so deep, and then Kane would just find Son, and that was basically it, right?
Yeah.
But obviously Conte is slightly different because I think we dominate the ball maybe a bit more. Yeah. And also we have Kulusevski as well now, thankfully. And I think Conte also used Lucas a bit differently to the way Jose used him, because obviously Jose used him as a 10.
Yeah.
And he's played Lucas further wide. Sorry, Conte's played Lucas further wide.
Lucas can't play.
To stretch a bit. But you say that, but Lucas actually had a good run of games under Conte when he came in.
Yeah, when he started, he did, but he wasn't. It was one of them. If you'd gone into January, he probably would have been one of the first players on the right where we needed strengthening.
Yeah, it's true. I'm just saying
he probably wasn't contributing enough, and the fact that our third top goal scorer is his own goals says it all.
Yeah.
Like, if we might as well, you know, everyone's going to be walking around with Spurs shirts next year saying OG.
Yeah. But for me, as in the way Kane has carried this team, and the difference between Kane and Son this year for me. So obviously Kane obviously had that issue in the start of the season where he didn't come back, right?
Yeah.
That didn't help. But Son's been there for me almost every game, and even in games when he's not, say, dominated the game or say, perform to a higher level,
he
still pops up and he scores a goal.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing with Son, isn't it? So
that's the difference for me this season compared to last season's Son.
Definitely. No, definitely. Son's definitely been a shining light this year. Definitely. And I've always been a fan of Son, so I would never ever, even when like it was really weird because when I was obviously doing my channel and through the period, and there was a lot of thing on social media about Son being dropped.
Oh yeah, I kept reading that too.
Yeah, and he wasn't playing great, but the problem was he was still scoring. So, and so I asked some of the guests, and there was a couple that did say we should have dropped him, and I went, in a team like ours, you can't drop him. If he was at Liverpool, you possibly could.
Oh yeah, because you just bring like Salah, or Diaz,
or someone like that,
or Mane, or something like that.
But
or Jota.
But in a situation like that, you just couldn't do it.
We rely on Son and Kane too much still. I still think.
Yeah, because I think we need. This is going to be really strange. We hopefully next season, Kulu will contribute a lot more.
Yeah,
he's getting the assists, but he's going to come to a point where Son and Kane. So basically, when Son and Kane are being marked, that's when we need Kulu to step up a little bit. The games against Brentford, the game against Brighton. Okay, I'm going to dismiss the Brighton game for Kulu because his head had gone on Kukurea. So I'm going to dismiss that. But actually, hopefully next year, we'll see a lot more of Decky. And hopefully he'll start to turn up for these big games.
Also, sorry. Also, let's go into Norwich, I think, now, because we discussed about everything else but Norwich. Okay, so how are you feeling about the game? Are you gonna avoid lasagna the night before? Because I'm not. Before.
I don't think it's that deep now. Do you know what? I feel I should be confident, and I tell you why I feel like I should be confident. It's because it's not Poch, it's not it's not Redknapp, it's not, and I'm talking about the managers before. It's not AVB and all them, where the mentality of Spurs was still around.
Yeah,
like if this was Mourinho, I'd still be slightly confident. Even when we were crap, I'd still be slightly confident. Even though we didn't even beat Norwich very comfortably when we played them, and we drew both. I think we drew the one at Carrow Road.
Yeah.
I'd still be like confident going into it. Even if it's that bad, Kane will turn up, kind of thing.
He will still score.
Under Nuno, to be honest, Nuno beat the crap teams.
Yeah.
Apart from City, he beat Watford. Yeah. He beat Villa at the time when they were, going through their bad run. So actually, I think Nuno probably would have beat him as well. But this Norwich side, they've got nothing to play for. But it's not like they've had nothing to play for weeks and they still ain't getting the results. I think the game against Wolves was the first time they picked up. And I think Wolves have just been... I think since Wolves beat us, they've been absolutely awful.
Yeah, I can't remember them doing anything since then.
It's like they got a nosebleed for thinking they were going to get anywhere near Champions League football, and then suddenly just took a nosedive. They're very Nuno-ish.
Nuno-ish. The thing with Norwich for me is like, I don't know if you saw Pookie said, "Oh, we're going to try and get something out of the game," and I'm like, "Oh God, fuck's sake, here we go again." But at the same time, even if they park the bus, we just have to keep the ball for 90 minutes.
Well, this is the thing, because we don't even have to win. We should be aiming to win, but we don't have to win. And if it gets to the last 10 minutes and it's like 0-0, 1-0, 2-2, I'm going to sit there and tell you now, Norwich are not going to try and beat us.
Yeah.
They're going to sit there and go, our season's done. Give us a point. Our fans will be happy with a point. And we're like, okay, it's a point, not really the best result, but
it gets us there.
It gets us over the line.
Yeah. Are there any players from Norwich, I know this is a far cry me saying this, that you think can hurt us? Because, I mean, even in like people talk about Tim Krul, but when I checked predicted lineups a few hours ago, he doesn't come up, so I don't know if he's fit or not.
I don't think he played last week, so I think hopefully,
I think it's like James Gunn or something.
If Gunn's in goal, the guy who let in 9 against Leicester when he played for Southampton. Remember this, So that's why I'm thinking actually a 9-0 wouldn't be with 7 from Kane, 2 from Son. It could be possible, but no.
Get the foot on the pitch.
Gunn's decent. He's an okay keeper, but
There's no, but even in their lineup, I don't think Cantwell's not there
the
anymore, is he?
lineup, like,
So
is the line like there's no one from, like, usually, like when Norwich went down before, like you looked at Benduia and you went, he was good.
yeah,
I can't remember the other guy.
yeah.
Pookie was okay. He wasn't performing. You looked at it and went, but I think for Norwich, I think if you ask the Norwich fan right now who could hurt Spurs, they'd probably go, nobody.
Yeah.
Right?
Nothing to fear.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. They're probably sitting there thinking, we're actually only going to see. We're probably going to watch Spurs on, because they've had a really bad season, and it's not down to them. You know, they financially they financially can't compete, and you know
They're
they're
very
not
up
gonna,
and down, as in the one
very up and
season they
down
go down, then they come
between
back
them
up.
and Fulham. I think I read a stat the other day. Them and Fulham haven't played each other for 6 years, but yet both have only been in the Premier League and the Championship.
It's like up down. They're very
Yeah.
up down. They go down. Like Norwich will go down next year, obviously, and we might see them in like the season after
But
next.
the problem is they've got players. The players that no one's buying off them are too good for the Championship, but not very good for the Premier League.
They're not good enough for the Premier League.
Yeah, like Pookie is probably too good for the Championship,
but he's not good enough for us.
Yeah, Mitrovic is probably another one, and this is really, like, I've liked Mitrovic and he's a bully and stuff, but he's probably not good enough for the Premier League. But he's too good for the Championship.
He's not.
So Pookie and Mitrovic are kind of them players that would probably go do well in the French league or, you know, mid-team Spanish league. That's kind of where they're at, their level. But the Premier League's just a bit more difficult for them. But let's be honest, if Norwich want to play on the weekend and they actually do want to turn up, because, you know, they could. Yeah. They could. And everyone's like, Son and Kane are the ones that are going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's Tottenham.
it's, again, as I was against Arsenal,
yeah.
The only team that's going to hurt Tottenham are Tottenham.
It's only us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
We're in that situation. Like when we played Man City and Liverpool, and when we played them two, it's a different type of game. Yeah, we expect them to hurt us. But when we play anybody else, even down to when we play Chelsea, the only people that are going to let yourselves down are Spurs themselves. And we let ourselves get down against Chelsea all 4 times, but Tuchel just knew how to play against Spurs. He just knew every single time, and Rudiger always has Kane in his pocket. But, you know, the rest of the team, no one else in the Premier League, like Man United should not have scored 6 goals against us this season. When you look at it like that,
Nuno,
and even Conte at Old Trafford, you know,
it's a bit different when it's at Old Trafford, but because he actually gave them a game, I thought, that day. So
Dyer,
I know,
was found out. And it's not the first time that he was found out to why he will not make it in the Champions League. He's not a great defender.
No, he's not. He's a good backup, but I don't think he's a starter at all. It's the same with Davies, really. I know everyone's lapping his praise on Twitter today, but in the long run, I don't think he's the answer.
But no, he's not in the long run. But actually, out of him and Dyer, I think he's more equipped to play against, because he does it for Wales, and Wales, you know, let's be honest, have played against some good nations where he probably has marked the Lewandowskis of the world and things like that and done okay. But with Dyer, I'm not there with Dyer. He's been good for us this season, and good is the only way I'm going, because everyone's like, he should be in the England squad.
Do you find him too casual?
I feel like he's still playing in central midfield.
Okay.
But I prefer him as a central midfielder, and I still personally think now that he's fit again, I personally think he would do a great job there. Yeah. A lot of people are like, no, but when he was our central midfielder,
he was good.
I remember when he was out in the 16-17 season, he was out for a while. Then when Yama got injured, Dyer came back, and we finished with Dyer in midfield with Dembele, and he was quality. He was a quality central midfielder. He was getting England caps and everything. But he chose that he wanted to be a defender. And I tell you this now, if Dyer didn't get sick and he stayed as a central midfielder, we wouldn't see Rice.
You think?
Rice wouldn't be getting the caps that he would have, because I think Dyer would have cemented that place. But the problem is, Rice stuck to being in central midfield and became the player he is today. Because I'll be honest,
he's class, isn't it?
Yeah, if we could sign Rice, I'd buy him tomorrow.
I think he want like over 100 million or something.
Yeah, they and I've got a feeling the club might pay that.
But where's he going to go? Because Chelsea have no money apparently. So
we'll see. We'll see about the
But
Chelsea.
like for me with Dyer, I found that the reason he did so well in central midfield is because, like you said, he's almost doing the same thing he's doing now, right?
Yeah.
He's dropping it as into the 3. And that's how we used to play in the 4-2-3-1, even under Pochettino, he'll drop into the 3. But also in central midfield, because he has that defence behind him, if he makes these stupid mistakes, which he does a lot, I'm sorry, and it gets covered by it because there's someone behind him, right? And also, he was playing alongside someone like Dembele, so we had the ball 99% of the time.
Yeah.
He just hold on to the ball. And Dyer would just get it and just pass it to Dembele. Easy peasy, really. But, like, from what I've witnessed this year, I'm not saying he's been awful. But I'm not saying, like yourself, I'm not saying he's been amazing. But what I don't like about him is that he's very casual. Like, he'll just not even look and just hit the ball. And I'm just like, what are you doing?
So, to be honest, he's been like how Royale has been these last 3 games. They get to a point where actually they're okay performance. You think they're being good, but they're okay. It's one of them where they don't look out of place. Kind of.
But it's also, do you find that if I always have this belief, right, with the team performance, if the team is performing all, say, 8 to 9s out of 10s, say 7 or 8 of your players are performing at that level, and you have 3 who are performing at, like, say, a 6, those 3 won't show as much, even if they're doing badly, because you've got the other 7 or 8 who were doing so well. And I felt that was happening even under Pochettino days, because people weren't noticing players like Davies being average, or even people like Dyer being average, or people like Sissoko. I don't want to talk about him for a long time, but being so bad, because you had people like Eriksen, Kane, Son, Dembele, Wanyama, all, and Jan and Toby all hitting like 8 to 9s out of 10s, 9 games out of 10. So you'd have these other players who weren't performing that same level, being sort of covered,
like Trippier, Davis.
Just being like sort of. But because now we went the opposite way, where we have so many bad ones, and now like Kane and Son are just like top. It's like we went the opposite way.
No, I totally agree with you. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Dyer still. I think he's if you're asking me, would he have been in my starting lineup this year? Of course he will have. But that's because we had no one else. And actually, he was very key into organising that defence. But the Man United game, the Brighton game, there were certain games this season where he has literally cost us goals because he's still the old Dyer. Put him in the 2, he's rubbish. But then not many of our defenders can play in the 2. So
I mean, he struggled on Mourinho in the 2, so it's no surprise there. He just makes brainless mistakes.
And that was Mourinho's downfall for trusting him. Mourinho's biggest downfall was trusting Dyer as a centre-back. He should have put Dyer in centre midfield like he did.
Alderweireld, I think.
Yeah, and put Alderweireld, and we had Rodon. So again, another player that made massive mistakes. So he probably had no one anyway.
But it's like, I think Dyer also sort of believes he's better than he is. Personally, I think that.
Possibly. I think Poch couldn't rely on him at the end.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't get back to his full fitness. I think Mourinho got him to his fitness, which was unusual because he played him every week no matter what, even no matter what mistakes he made. And then Conte's kind of reaped the benefits of that. Well, Nuno played him every week as well. But yeah, if you were asking me who would I rather replace, Davis or Dyer, I'm now getting to that point where I'd rather replace Dyer.
Yeah.
But it's probably that Davis is probably going to be the most likely replacement.
It's true.
Because a left-sided centre-back is probably where it's going to be needed the most, because we've got Romero cemented his place. So we'll have to go from there.
Because I was reading today that he wants at least 3 defenders. So I'm assuming that's 2 new fullbacks and a centre-half.
Fullback situation, I suppose Reguilon. I think Reguilon's obviously on his way back,
and Emerson as well was off. I think
if they do, I think Atletico Madrid want Emerson, which is a strange one. But again, Royale can defend.
Yeah, so might be fine.
But that's one thing we have found out in the last couple of games, is that actually Royale can defend. And there's a lot of people that were saying to me, especially when Doherty got injured, you can't put we've got to try Bergwijn there, we've got to try this person. But it's like, why are you going to try?
I was one of those people, so I can't think of say anything.
No. But I'm going to sit there and say this to all of you, because I was, and then I remember if THFC ran because he come out of a comment and he goes, "What about if Royale cost us Champions League?"
Yeah.
And I said at the time, you can't be messing about putting people like Lucas Moura or Bergwijn and people like that who've never played there. When one thing we can guarantee that Royale had played against Liverpool and Man City, but when Doherty got injured, and I'm like, he didn't. No one complained then. We won both games. He's been in games where we've won, so you just play the right back and go with it. Conte has to adjust the way we play, which he did. Nobody realised this. He did. Because he basically said to Ransison, and you push further up,
and
then hopefully Kulu will get the ball and cross it. That's where your crosses will come in from. But teams knew that Royal can't cross, so they tried to make it cross the ball. But it worked because actually the one thing Royal can do, I know everyone's saying the crap footballer and this, that, and the other has Premier League footballer, but he can defend. Like no matter how you put it, the guy's not a bad defender.
I think he would do well like a mid-table Premier League club, but
he probably would and probably be a key player for them.
But in the system we play under Conte, he ain't going to get a game.
And our expectations so much bigger than Royale, so
yeah. As in, because Conte's system is so focused on the wing backs creating, that's why it don't work. But I think
that's the big key thing.
Talking hypothetically now, right?
Yeah.
If Nuno had worked out, okay, let's have a different conversation here. Do you think Emerson probably would have stayed as a right back? Probably. Because I think Doherty would probably be on his way out if
I think both of them would be, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, because
Doherty's made a career because of Conte.
Well, this is the thing I never understood, especially when Nuno came in. I'm very surprised we never played a free.
Yeah, I was the same as well.
Because apparently when he took the interview, Levy, they had to show him the way he played at Valencia, and he played a 4.
Yeah.
Apparently Levy wasn't convinced by Nuno. It was Paratici. And Paratici showed Levy, look, this is what football he can play when he plays a 4, which was attacking football. But obviously he's then changed his style and gone to 3-4-3, which worked for him at Wolves. It might not have been great, but it worked for him. So I'm very, very shocked that I'm very, very shocked that he didn't try and play that again, and especially with Doherty, knowing the fact
I was
a
thinking
very key man in that, because we saw what Doherty was under like Mourinho in a 4. He wasn't great.
It wasn't great.
It's no surprise as soon as Conte puts him in a 3, it worked out for him in the end. He got more comfortable. It took him a few games to get used to it. I think it was the Leicester game where we all went as Spurs fans, oh my God, he can actually play left wing back or right wing back.
That's when he came on, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And completely put us on the front foot.
I think with Doherty is people need to understand he's a different kind of wing back to someone like Kyle Walker. He ain't going to get the ball and go past like 3 or 4 players.
Yeah.
And then put it across. He's going to be that player who makes that run and then puts a cross in.
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah. But the thing is, we've never, we were sport by Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
So
he's so good.
It's really weird because every right back we've replaced after that has been worse.
Yeah.
Even though I still think Aurier was better than Trippier, but what he ended up doing in the Spurs shot when he got the first team spot, I'd probably say Trippier probably had the better career at Spurs.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
As a player, I still think Aurier was better.
Yeah, I agree with you actually with that. But I think Trippier was sort of like a forced thing because we sold Kyle Walker and we brought in Sanchez. And I think they specifically brought in Sanchez because, number one, obviously he was young and he's from Ajax. I know he only had one good season at Ajax, but he had pace. And because we lost the pace of Walker, he sort of covered that bit. And then that's when they moved Trippier there and said, Trippier, look, just focus on just crossing the ball. Yeah. And remember we changed to like a 3?
Yeah.
I don't know if we were playing a 3 the year before that. I can't remember, but it was kind of mashed between 4-2-3-1 and 3-4-3.
Yeah,
different games.
But
we completely stuck with that 3 and wing backs, and then Trippier sort of just given the license. Look, you're just going to cross the ball. Sanchez will cover the ground, and that was a forced change because Walker was sold.
Yeah, not the best. That's when we kind of knew that we were going back.
That was it. That was it. For me, it was probably the window before that, but anyway. When Sissoko joined on deadline day.
Do you know what, Ryan? I know a lot of people give Sissoko slack, but he was part of 2 important parts of our run in the Champions League that everyone forgets. So the Inter Milan game, when we were pretty much going out. He was the one who made the run from the halfway line with the ball.
I remember, yeah.
Gave it to Ericsson, who then gave it to, was it Ericsson?
I think it was talking about the Dele Alli one?
Was it Dele? I can't remember. It was just the game where we won 1-0.
And he passed it through to Lucas. Is that you talking about that one?
No, not that one. So that was Ajax. That's what he done for Ajax, right? Yeah. And everyone forgets that his calmness to lay that sort of ball and actually pinpoint it to Dele Alli. This is Sissoko we're talking about. And then if you watch the Inter Milan game where we were struggling to break Inter down, was it Inter? It was Inter at Wembley, and he was the only one who run with the ball from the halfway line. I think he played it back to, I think it was Ericsson, or it was
Ericsson
someone
scored the goal,
and then whoever laid the ball to Ericsson.
I think it was Son.
Yeah, so he laid. Yeah, so he'd run in the box, laid it back, and then laid it across to Ericsson.
Son played it across.
Yeah,
yeah.
So Sissoko had his limitations, but he was definitely part of two probably
still don't
moments.
Miss him.
I don't miss it because with some of his passing, but if he was, it was one of them when he was used correctly.
Yeah,
I
think Poch was sort of forced to use Sissoko in some way because he didn't get the player he wanted in Mane. But also for me, Sissoko shone. I remember that season. I can't remember what year it was 2018, when everyone was like, he's the best player. I think it's partly because everyone else was so bad. He kind of shone.
Yeah.
Everyone else had a bad season.
He had a good season that year, like for him. But I think it was because Poch wanted Mane and Wijnaldum, didn't he?
And they both went.
Wijnaldum that window that he wanted.
Yeah, and they both went Liverpool, didn't they?
Yeah, we wouldn't pay the 25 million that Newcastle wanted, and we ended up getting Sissoko on deadline day instead. So, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts.
Liverpool got their better end of the deal. We just, messed around as we normally do.
So, in terms of Norwich, are there any games that you remember, like memorable moments? Because for me, I remember when Bale scored that goal away to Norwich. I think he scored quite a few goals away to Norwich.
Bale is always going to be the man when you think about Norwich. Is always going to be the man you think about when going to Carrow Road, because I think we were struggling at one point against them. We couldn't break them down, and he literally, that's when he just went, fuck it, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, that's when he ran. Do you remember he ran like the whole pitch and he chipped the keeper?
Brilliant goal.
But if you remember the year before that as well, under Redknapp, I think it was the year before, that's when Redknapp first played him in the middle, and I think he played Rafa on the left. And I think Bale scored 2 goals even that day. They're both similar sort of things. He chipped the keeper.
Yeah. So Bale's always the memory when I think about Carrow Road. I'm trying to fix. We drew 2-2 there last time, and let's be honest, we got away with VAR that day.
Yeah.
Pukki's goal was onside, and it was just like, oh my god, how the hell have we got away with that? It was a bit like when Kane's goal against Southampton. And how the hell have VAR come to that conclusion? That is onside.
So what do you think about VAR then? Because I'm very it's sometimes in some ways it's very good, but in some ways it's kind of stupid because the Burnley penalty we got given.
Yeah.
You got the ref waiting for VAR to make a decision, and I was screaming in the stands as I was there. I was like, just go and watch it on the monitor. You don't have to sit there and wait for them to.
So
it's just so annoying.
So I think someone else asked me about VAR a couple of weeks ago, and I'm a fan of it, but I'm not a fan in the way the English referees are using it. Now, for me, you look at the Burnley penalty on Sunday, and it's absolutely the correct decision. I spoke to people who went on Sunday after the thing, and I had one of the guys on my show say that it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. Come on, and I said, but who jumps the way that he does? You look at the way Ashley Barnes jumps. I've never known a player to jump like that. He's not jumping. He's trying to block the ball, and as I've been told of other penalty decisions, you open yourself up if you jump out like that. You put yourself in a situation where it could hit you. Unfortunately, it did. But the thing with VAR, all VAR has done, and it's not VAR, because actually the actual technology of VAR works. It's It's the English referees.
The way it's been used.
And the way it's been used. Now, my thing is, I said they should set a time limit of how long it can take to make a decision. Now, they said it should only be used when they've made an error and it's clear and obvious. If it's not clear and obvious in the first minute, the first 60 seconds, they've got a 60-second countdown to check the offside, to check, because in the first 60 seconds, if it's clear and obvious, you can see it. You probably be able to see it in the first 30 seconds.
Not drawing these lines.
Yeah. So my thing is, give it a time limit of like a minute, and only a minute, because they've taken 6 or 7. If they can't work it out in the first minute, it's not clear and obvious, you go with the on-field decision, or you let the referee come and see it on the monitor and play exactly what you've seen and they've seen and get to be done with it. And the referee should then, if after that minute, if the referee has to go to the monitor, he's got 30 seconds to make a decision. That's a minute and a half altogether. A minute and a half is not long. And that's just my suggestion of the way they can improve the people's experience who are at the game. Because for us on TV, when we're watching on TV, it's nothing for us.
Because when I was there, I didn't see the handball because it happened so quick.
So I've been very lucky because I've been to a few games this season and I haven't had to deal with VAR. And I don't know why I've not had to deal with it so far. So I'm kind of like, okay, I've lucked out a little bit, and I've been to a few. But obviously, every time I watch it on TV, I'm like, it's always a VAR decision that has been a content, something's come up. I think Rob Holding's red card was the longest VAR decision that I've witnessed at a game. And even then, someone was down anyway, so it didn't really matter. But for me, all VAR has done is highlight, the rules that used to change back in the early 90s and stuff like that, like the handball rule and the offside.
Yeah, I remember,
Yeah, all those changes, all VAR has highlighted how stupid they were.
Ball to hand, or hand to ball, ball to hand. Yeah.
And that's all VAR has done. It's just brought out how stupid the rule changes to begin with. They should never have been done.
So another thing, obviously, I don't know, you said you haven't been to any games with VAR, right? This season. So they show the result on. So when after handball happened, right? They showed us a replay of the decision on the screen. Now, do you think they should do that or not? Because say they gave the decision against us, should they be showing it?
They should. Yeah, they've got to. They've got to show everyone, because if you guys are in the stadium,
they should have taken like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. The timing is so key, and that's why I'm like, actually, with VAR, if it's taking that long, it's not clear and obvious. Always the key thing's always been clear and obvious.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm more than happy if on Sunday, if after a minute they couldn't make a decision. Well, it's a bit obvious, like that was clear and obvious. It was handball, so they wouldn't have taken that long. But say Cedric on Thursday, right? Say that did go to VAR. If that took more than a minute to try and conclude whether he's pushed him in the back or not, and they said, "Look, we can't decide," I'm more than happy for them to go, "Look, it's inconclusive. None of us can all go carry on because we have to go with what's on the field, right?" But if it's offside, like offsides as well, half the time you clearly see it's offside, but you don't need to do the lines. And on the tight ones, right, as the old rule is, you go with the attacker.
Benefit the doubt.
Yeah, benefit the doubt goes with the attacker. So that's always got to be the rule. Yeah, and at the end,
I agree with you for that one.
Yeah, tight on tight. This is tight offside rules. You don't need to be going like with. To be honest, with the offsides with VAR, it's concrete. There's no it is or it isn't. It very rarely gets offside wrong, right? And I know we've had Kane and like I said, we had Pookie. They're probably the 1-2 times that you could actually say they got it wrong. When you're going with armpit hairs and stuff like that, forget it. That's just complete bullcrap. But actually, with everything else, it's 99% accurate, and you can't argue with that. And that's the problem now. I think that's the problem with most football fans now. We can't argue about offsides. When was the last time?
Because got VAR.
When was the last time we had an argument? Where, that was a goal, was offside. We don't anymore.
But VAR doesn't always get it right.
So there is the technology behind it. There is I think it's that's why they've had to make the lines thicker, apparently. But even then, this is why I said the tight ones are just not. You just leave them alone and go with the
because they do every. It's almost like they do every single decision.
Yeah, and they shouldn't. Like I look at the World Cup in Russia. Yeah,
Yeah.
The VAR for that was perfect. I think they had 1 or 2 decisions that were against the run of play that were a bit
dubious. Yeah.
But the rest of them were spot on, and we all sat there because we'd had it in the Premier League. When this is how the Premier League, or we just knew the English refs would mess it up. But a lot of the referees in this country were in a mess, an absolute mess. You know, when you're talking about soft penalties against Arsenal, and you're going it's soft, and actually it's a North London derby and should be given. But yeah, if we played Burnley and that happened, we're going to get it against Burnley. Makes no sense. It's not consistent. So for me, and especially when I heard what's his name, the old ref who done the World Cup as well. I forgot his name. He doesn't need paper column. When he says he wouldn't have given it, he's basically cheating. He's basically saying referees cheat, depending on the game. And that's, for me, just sums up the Premier League. And that's why
That's
why Alex Ferguson always went at the referee, because he knew he'd get the decisions, and that's why he is one of the best managers.
I mean, Fergie time.
Yeah, he knew.
Hair dryer out.
Yeah, they knew. So, but yeah,
VR is a bit.
Not nice. You know what's going to happen Sunday, don't you?
Well, we're going to have VAR decision.
Yeah, because we spoke about it for so long. Watch this space.
Yeah. So to close it off, what do you think the score will be on Sunday?
So, as you know, when we were on Tottenham away, I don't predict Spurs wins.
So we're going to lose 3-0 then?
So I predicted we'd lose 2-1 against Arsenal, didn't I?
Yeah.
See, the thing is, Norwich don't score many, so even I'm looking like, oh my god, I can't predict Norwich to not. Let's go. You know what? Because it's the last day of the season, let's go 3-2 Norwich.
Okay, I'm going 4-0 Tottenham. So,
mate, do you know what?
Hat-trick from Kane, hat-trick from Son, and penalty from Kane.
And who was? You know what? Let's be honest. The last team that were relegated, who we played,
Newcastle.
Nope. Everyone thinks it's Newcastle. Newcastle was the year before. Who did we have the year after? And we battered them on the last day. 7-1.
Oh.
See? It was Hull. Everyone
really?
Yeah, we battered Hull because we had Leicester and then we played Hull.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But you know, I always remember the Newcastle one because
it's the most one that's in the memory. But everyone always forgets the year after we had Leicester and Hull in a matter of days because the Leicester game got rearranged.
I remember, and we beat Leicester 6-1 or something.
6-1, and then we went and battered Leicester and Hull, who had been relegated. Yeah, and because everyone had asked Pochettino, "Are you worried the same thing will happen that happened in Newcastle?"
And he was like, "No,
that's never happening again."
Yeah.
So that's why I said 9-0.
9-0. 9-0 both games. Chelsea lose 9-0 to Watford, and we win 9-0 at Norwich.
Yeah,
and the goal swing happens.
Yeah, Kane's gonna Kane. I tell you now, Kane knows what he's 6 goals behind.
Yeah, he gets 6. Yeah, he'll get 7. Son will get.
Look, if it ended up theoretically, if it ended up 7-0, I would not be surprised. Kane 6, Son 1. And it would leave Kane, I think it's Kane, Salah and Son all on the same amount of goals.
I'll be mad.
It'd be absolutely crazy.
And then we need Watford to do a job at Chelsea.
Yeah, come on, Watford.
Is Troy Deeney still there? Get 10 goals or something?
No, he's at Birmingham now, isn't he? So,
that's how much I follow Watford for you.
Well, to be honest, I think you asked me if there's anyone who can give us a threat at Norwich earlier, and I'd be like, no. But is it Sarr at Watford? He wouldn't be a bad signing for us. Yeah, he's probably one out of all the teams that are going to get relegated, or Weghorst if Burnley go down.
He's a good shout too, as well. Yeah.
Not first team players, by the way.
Obviously. I mean, we've been linked with Richarlison a lot, but I don't really want him. To be honest.
No. He wouldn't even fit in. I don't think.
No, he's not. I just don't like him. I just don't think he's that good either, or a player.
He's one of them, hot and cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some games are so good.
And the
some
thing
games
is, we've already got loads of them players. We've got Bergwijn, we've got Lucas Moura. We don't need any more. Even Kulu at the moment, we don't know. Which we'll see next season what happens when we've got him for a full season.
But I don't think Kulusevski will be that kind of player personally. I think he's solid.
Let's hope.
But we'll see. He's only 21, so
we'll see what manager turns up next year if we ever.
Yeah. All right, it's been great having you on.
Yeah.
And just end the game.
It's been great to be on.
Yeah. And then come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.